Welcome to the Women Warriors Collab podcast. I am your host, Jen Michelle, and just like we do every single week, we love to bring people on that you should know, you should get to know, but also be empowered. I am accompanied by one incredible woman who's definitely a woman's woman who does so many great things, and her name is Gabby. So thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So, Gabby, let's just jump in because you kind of wear many hats. But one thing that I do love about you is that you really are a girl's girl, a woman's woman, and it's not fake. You know, because before meeting you, I'm like, she's so nice. Like, is she really this nice? But no, there are real people out there that have good intention, that say your name's in room of opportunity, and you are that person.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So talk to us. Tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are, all the things.
Sure. So I'm Gabby. I'm 30 years old and I have 3 children. I like to get that out of the way right ahead of time because sometimes people think because of my age, maybe I don't have kids yet, or maybe that's on the horizon, but I'm very much full in mommyhood and motherhood. And then I also own a music studio with my husband, Tyler. We've had that for 8 years now. And then I have No Plan B Consulting and the Next Generation Network. So my day-to-day is full of helping women, especially minority women, establish their storefronts, establish their community, and really make money doing what they love at the end of the day.
That's incredible. Incredible. So tell us the story a little bit behind the Next Generation Network.
I started that back in 2021 when I was networking, when we built our studio called The Vault. I found myself in a lot of male-dominated rooms where I felt like I kept getting invited onto people's summer homes and on dates. And I said, I'm not here to date you. I'm married and I already have a child. I'm not interested in dating you. Can we get to know each other? Can we do business together? And our business model of being a vocal recording studio, everyone in the room was also older than me, like 3 times my age.
Yeah.
So they all didn't understand what we were doing. And when I started my own business in 2020, I looked around too. I said, where can I network? Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. And the same thing kept happening. I'm extroverted, but I kept being introverted during the networking events. So I would find myself not talking. I would find myself hanging on to one person and chatting with them the entire time because they were nice. And not that we had anything to offer each other, but they just actually looked at me with kindness. And when it came for me to actually understand how are we going to build more wealth? Well, the biggest place where your wealth is stored is within your network. There's that famous quote where your network is your net worth. Well, mine was not doing well. Mine was struggling. And I said, well, if I need to go from here to where I desire to be and where I know I can be, I need women around me who are going to believe in me too. That's when I started hosting events, and that's when I started networking and hosting networking events specifically. And it hasn't stopped from there. Now we host networking events monthly out of women-owned storefronts. But it really came deep-rooted as well from my childhood. I grew up mixed. Of course, my dad's Colombian and my mom's Norwegian. And in North Jersey, in Roxbury where I grew up, that wasn't the norm.
Yep.
It was not the norm to be mixed. And if you were, it was not the norm to be mixed with Colombian or Hispanic, right? So I was one of a few girls in my grade who were mixed. And I always kind of floated. I didn't really feel like I had a home. But my real home was a condo. My parents had bought a condo when we were young, when I was like 2. I then started to get courted by the popular girls in 6th grade. Unfortunately, I was let go from that position because I lived in a condo. So they let me know that, hey, you've been lying to us all along. You live in a condo. Why did you think you could be friends with us? You essentially have to live in a single family home. It was like, I was like, are you guys accountants? Like, what's going on here? Why are you, like, are you auditing me? Yeah. Yes, this is in 6th grade. I'm 12 years old. That stuck with me for years, to where I then specifically started to isolate myself from people that I thought were popular, right? Like popular girls or people that were beautiful and had money and wore wealth well. I started to kind of go into the shadows and like, oh, well, they're not like us. And, oh, you know, we do kind things. And I think now through my 20s going into being 30, I realized that it doesn't matter what you look like and it doesn't matter what you wear, but it matters who you are inside. And that's really been an expanding thing for myself and then through the members of NGN too. So at our tables, we have women that make multi-6 figures. And we have women that make one figures,
Yeah.
right? Where
Yeah.
they're just starting out. But I believe we all deserve a seat at the table, and that you shouldn't have to go through an audit in order to sit here. The audit is, do you align with our messaging? Do you align in community and giving back? Do you love serving? Do you love philanthropy?
Yep.
Then come on in.
Yeah.
The water's just fine here. But that's a little bit of our story. So both rooted in my personal discovery that, wait, what if not all people are evil?
Yes.
What if there are good people out there, right? Just like you started, where you're like, oh, she's so kind. Is she really that kind? I think for a while I started to withhold parts of myself because I thought that maybe I'd be meted with the same judgment. And now I realize that's not true. And we get to curate our network, and it's really special spots that we get to open up.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because even with Women Warriors, I know we've had this conversation where not the same exact story, but also not feeling like I belong
Yes.
to a certain group, or they just weren't my people. You know, I've gone to, like, we went to a million events.
Yeah.
Right? But there's always like that one thing missing, that because it wasn't ours.
Yes.
Right? Where you know.
Yes.
And I love how you said this, because it's the differences in the similarities that bring us together as women, right? Because it's kind of, well, don't ask to be called to the stage. We build it ourselves, right? And those are the type of
Yes.
people I want to be around.
Yes.
You know, because the right
Absolutely.
people understand, no, you can come and eat at my table. And again, it's meeting women like you that are successful. And I say this on almost every episode that I have women on, because these conversations that we have, this is why I have this platform, because you can see people's success and realize, no, we're actually kind. You know, you just see the success part. You don't see the mud, the sweat, the tears, the letdown, all that. And we're still standing, but we know it's about giving back to community and establishing community, which your community, every woman I've met so far through them has been so nice. I know I went to the last event. I forgot the name of where it was, but it was great. You had the photo booth with like the soul, where you got to see each other's auras.
Yes,
I'm
the
like,
night of networking.
Yes, the
and
night of
C-suites in
networking.
Berkeley Heights.
And it
Yes.
was so nice because, yes, it wasn't a Women Warrior event, but it was your event, but I still felt at home because everybody was there for the same reason, and you created that.
Yes.
You know, so like, I get that, and I respect it, and I love it. And I just think these spaces need to be had, where like-minded women can get together, whether you said you're a multiple one-figure earner or six-figure earner, because we all started from somewhere.
Absolutely. And I think that's the best way we serve.
Yes.
Because when you're around people who are all at your same level, how really can you help each other? When you're around different women that are going through different things, then you can lead, you can mentor, you can coach, you can give back, you can give stages to people who you see past versions of yourself, but at the same time, you can see future versions of yourself too.
Yes.
And I think networking allows that space for you to see your future self and your past self all in one room.
Yeah. And it's funny because you said something like where you are an extrovert, but being in the wrong rooms, you were an introvert. And you know what's funny? I was the same way. Me and you were talkers. Me and you could sit and talk all day long. So when you said, I'm like, wow, that's exactly what I went through too, because I didn't feel comfortable. Or our big personalities, it's like, oh my God, no, I'm not too much. I'm just too much for the wrong people.
Absolutely. Right. If they're, let them choke on it. Like,
Yeah.
let them choke on the
Yeah.
fact that, hey, there are women who can be confident, who can
Exactly.
be successful, and they can also be kind and caring and want to help you.
Yeah.
And so many people that I meet when I'm like, hey, how can I help you? Who can I refer you to? They're like,
Yeah.
what's the catch? I'm like,
No.
no catch.
No, is that
Not at
we
all.
were there. and this is why I love these conversations, because confidence, right? It's always looked as she's being a bitch, right? Or she's snotty. Do you know how long it took for us to get this confidence, to know that we could set up an event where we brought people's, no, because we've dealt with other experiences. Yeah, I own this version of me that is confident, because now I know who I am and what I want and what I don't want. Right?
Absolutely.
And that's why you're creating these experiences for people that are just incredible.
Thank you.
Honestly, they're
so
absolutely
much.
incredible. So I did want you to share a powerful moment or lesson that you've learned from hosting networking events.
Yes. I would say one of the most powerful lessons is that it doesn't always make sense. So the connection on paper for someone who's maybe very analytical will be, oh, she's a web designer. Oh, this is a brand photographer. This alignment sounds so good, because every web designer knows that everyone needs brand photography for their website. You can make that connection, and it can be absolutely not there. You don't feel the energy. You don't feel anything. Instead, you actually kind of feel them repel from each other. Then you introduce the web designer to a tarot card reader, and they fall in love with each other. So when you go to networking events, who cares about what the title is? Be more mindful of who's going to be in the room and their intentions for being there.
Yes.
Because it's not always going to make sense. I have people that are really successful business owners that are a part of my network. I have people that are business owners that, again, need a lot of help that are in my network. For those people that are really successful, sometimes it doesn't make sense for them to join my network. Like, their business is already successful, but that's not the whole point. They need the community.
Yes.
And it's not always going to make sense on paper. And now there are times when you try to connect to people and you thought it would make perfect sense, and it just doesn't fit traditionally based on their personal beliefs and values.
Yes.
So I find that when there's two people who sometimes do opposite things, but they have similar belief systems and values and maybe even lived experiences, it's a huge match. And I love seeing that happen in real time, seeing two people meet.
Yeah.
And just you can feel them lean into each other. And I think that's probably one of the most beautiful moments at events, to see women find each other.
Yes. The power of connecting.
Yes.
And again, it goes back to realizing that there's enough for us all. You know, you're in an industry where there are a lot of coaches, there are a lot of mentors, right?
Yes.
And there are a lot of makeup artists, and but everyone's still making money. Everyone's still finding their people, because your people will get attracted to you and your energy. I'm big with energy.
Absolutely. And especially when you open your mouth and speak,
Yeah.
right? So it's a little easier for us to magnetize things towards us because we're speak and we're open. And I don't know about you, but I probably could be a little bit more open about what I need, because I think that's one lesson that I'm still actively learning, is that you have to be open to receive help too.
Yes.
I think every journey along the way, I've started to release a little more, but that opening up can still be hard for me too, to say, this is where I need help right now.
Yeah. And going back to asking for help, you know, one thing that I've learned is that I'm always a student. So it's kind of like having, I don't like to use the word humble at all anymore, especially when you know the meaning behind it. So I don't want to say humble, but I think it's just being realistic. Like, you don't have all the answers. If you want to keep on growing, you have to ask for help.
Yes. And I'll do that now in my stories, in my Instagram stories.
I love your stories, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm like, all right, guys, here's a big ask. And I did that before our last event. I was like, here's a big ask. I could use 2 more sponsors, and I could use this help with something else. And the people came right in. The 2 more sponsors came right in. I think, again, due to my past and the way that I was raised by my parents, you have what you have and you'll be happy with that, right? Whatever you have, don't ask for more than that, because you should be happy with what you have right now. Count them. Count those pennies, count those nickels, count those. But then I realized, well, that's not true. You know, and while that might have served my parents, that's not what's going to serve me. That belief that, oh, well, I should just use what I have. I shouldn't ask for help. No, I should ask for help. And then it allows other people to serve me too. I'm already serving them.
Yes.
So why am I not allowing myself to be served too?
Yeah. I think it's empowering knowing that you could, you know, ask for help. So your tagline, no plan B.
Yes.
You know, how do you help clients shift beyond backup plans into full commitment?
Oh, that's such a lesson in mindset. I've learned a lot of the work that I do is business strategy. So not just mindset, I do a lot of mindset, but my background is in accounting. So I actually have my bachelor's and master's in accounting. So I took extensive marketing and business plan and business strategy classes throughout college that I then used to fund and create our startup, my husband and I's music studio, back in 2017. And then as I started working with women business owners, I realized that a lot of coaches talk about the belief system, but what about your business plan, right? What about your strategies? And not just social media strategies, but your sales strategies. What is your pricing for this year? How will it increase? When will you do Black Friday sales? You know, have we looked at your annual year and mapped out your annual income and what you're making every single month?
Yeah.
Because if we don't track it, it can't grow. And if we don't track it, we also don't know what it is. So in starting No Plan B, I really realized there's a gap in education. And as I kept learning more and more about systems and pricing strategies and psychology of pricing, I wanted to help others with it. So in the beginning, I would coach people once a week. Okay, once a week, they'd get 4 sessions with me for like $100 a month. It was
it's the beginning.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. All my strategies, like all of my pricing was on Canva sheets that I would just send to my potential clients. Like, here's my biggest package. And I remember landing one of my biggest packages, which was $600 for 1 month. And I was like, oh,
I made it.
Have I crossed over the threshold? Where is the celebratory fireworks for this? But I actually went through a lot of struggle with naming my pricing and my worth.
Yes.
Because, I work with these women. Oh, I shouldn't. But then I learned the principle of you should never price to your own wallet. Yep. And that's what I was doing. I was pricing to my own wallet. And there were women out there that were willing to pay more, but I wasn't allowing them to. I was capping my worth, which was not helping me or my family.
Yep.
And in building out No Plan B, the reason why I really built out the name No Plan B was because back my senior year of high school, I was actually sexually assaulted at my senior shore. My best friend, Ashley, I did not tell a soul about it because I was convinced it would just go away. It would just go away. I don't have to face this. My best friend, Ashley, was like, you should take a Plan B just in case. And I was like, sure, I'm too scared though. I can't go in. Can you go in for me? And thankfully she did. After that whole thing happened, I shoved that deep down. Mm-hmm. I then stopped beating to my own drum and started beating to the drum of anyone else. It's like I lost my inner compass. I lost my sense of who I am. And I also lost my sense of like my body and my value. And so as life continued on, I went into my accounting degree and I said yes to working for a Big Four accounting firm. I'd start off at $100K a year at 22 years old. Oh, okay, sign me up. But the thing is, I had done an internship and I hated it. I hated every second of it. Yeah. But I couldn't use my own voice to tell people that I hated it because I was still not using my own voice to share what had happened to me in the past. Mm. So I went through a couple really hard realizations. A, the one that I actually wanted to become a mother first. Yeah. And B, who cares what anyone thinks because this is my life and I should do what I desire to do. So at 22, almost 23, that's when I decided I'm going to say no to the offer. I'm going to take out my IUD and get pregnant. And I'm going to say no Plan B. And as I was becoming a mother and as I was sitting there, I kept saying that if I ever do anything with my life, because I didn't know if I was going to own a business or not yet, I'm going to call it No Plan B. Because there was a time in my life where my story owned me. And the things that had happened to me had ownership over me. But then there was a day that I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, you can't own me anymore. Because the most powerful thing about sharing your story is that now it's no longer has ownership over you. It's out in the open. That's right. It's almost like a trial, right? When someone actually gets indicted and they get, it's out. How can it own you anymore?
Exactly. This is my truth.
Yes, you have ownership over it. So it was really difficult. And I still sometimes have a little bit of trouble sharing it, but actually not really anymore. It is much more empowering for me and I'll actually mention it more. Mm-hmm. I never want to trigger anyone. I never want to, have people in the audience
this is your story.
Yes.
This is your story. And I think your people will know that you're sharing for a reason. It's not to trigger.
Yes.
And it's your story to tell.
Yeah. It's not meant to hurt anyone or anything along those lines.
And you own that. Yeah. Stand 10 toes down on that story,
Yeah. So that's the next phase of life as I'm speaking more is owning more of that story because a lot of people hear no Plan B and they believe, which is true because it should mean whatever it means to you. Oh, right. No Plan B, go all in on your Plan A. But in reality, no Plan B to me means there was a time in my life where I did things out of survival mode and things happened to me and I never let people, I never took the people accountable, did anything with it. I just kind of let people walk all over me. And then a day came around where I am my Plan A. I'm going to do whatever I want in my life and no one will stop me anymore. No one will hold me back. And so for me, that's what no Plan B means. And then it just so perfectly kind of works into the world of business. Yeah. As more and more women are navigating, choosing themselves. Can I choose myself? Is it safe for me to choose myself? And to which I say, yes, absolutely. We have to. It's imperative, especially for the next generation of women.
And again, that goes to your other. Yes. See, it all goes hand in hand. Yes. And it's so inspiring. Thank you for sharing, as well, because, you never know what somebody needs to hear, and I feel like our victories and even our failures and our setbacks and our dark chapters that we don't want to share, if somebody else hears them, that's our truth and it could help somebody else. So thank you, for sharing that. So I have the fun part of our podcast where I like to ask you fast questions. Ooh. So the first answers that come to your mind when you hear this.
Okay.
So, best piece of advice you ever received?
I think that it'd probably have to go on your circle and who you're around. If you're around 9 broke people, you'll be the 10th. And if you're around 9 millionaires, you'll be the 10th. So choose wisely.
Amen. Book or podcast you can't stop recommending?
Definitely The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale or The Success Principles by Jack Canfield.
What energizes you the most when starting the week?
Energizes me the most. Probably a good sauna session, a good workout and a good sauna session, and a good like podcast listening session.
Power color?
Definitely red.
One word to describe your coaching style?
Warm.
What makes you a woman warrior?
I think that anything that comes to me in life, I aim to overcome it and bring other women with me.
Yeah. Amen, sis. So for anyone that is on, where could they find you?
Sure, they can find me on Instagram at No Plan B Consulting, or We Are the Next Generation Network. That's the best place. Or my website is noplanbconsulting.com.
Okay, and one more thing, because I know you have a really, really big event that's coming up in middle of August. Where can they purchase tickets, all the things?
Yes, if they head to our Instagram, we have the ticket linked right in our bio, but it's also on Eventbrite. So if you just type in the NGN Summit or even just Women's Business Summit, it'll pop up. This year's theme is the expansion era because we'll be hosting out of the historic Vanderbilt estate at FDU.
Exciting. So exciting.
Very exciting.
But thank you so much for joining me this week, and I hope you come back on.
I will. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Guys, thank you for all of you guys that are on right now, that are tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, to comment, and to like. And remember, when you sit with the women warriors, the conversation is always different.